Hi, this is Tanya from Love Butter Tarot, back with the cards for the 23rd of January 2017. Sorry I didn't get any cards done on Friday. I had a deadline to make a video for the Iraq charity, and I was basically up all night and carried on throughout the day. So I managed to get it done, so that was okay. I've had quite a few little things I just want to mention before I start with the cards today. Quite interesting. I've had quite a lot of messages, sort of the back end of last week and over the weekend. Now I did say last week that I was picking things up and stuff like that, and sadly I heard from a girl I know quite well, and I've spent quite a lot of time with the family as well in the past, and one of the most beautiful families I've ever experienced. Spend time with them, just they are filled with love, and it's very beautiful to see families in this day and age that are still as connected and still together as that. And sadly, they suffered a massive tragedy last week. And I do feel some of the stuff I was picking up was connected to that in a way. But I'd just like to, and if you all could as well, just please send them prayers and healing, because they're going through a very, very tough time at the moment. So, like I say, my thoughts are with them, and I would appreciate it if you could send yours as well. So that was the first thing. So that obviously explained some of the stuff. Healing. I don't know if any of you felt a shift over this weekend. I did say a couple of weeks ago that Spirit had told me sort of the 22nd was going to be important, and a huge healing. On Saturday, there was a massive healing came through with my family, which I wasn't expecting. None of us were expecting, and it was very gentle, but it was huge. So there was such a feeling of relief. It was very, very bizarre. And then yesterday, out of the blue, I ended up getting a Pleiadian light healing from a dear friend of mine, Becky. Becky is an amazing light worker. Whenever I'm stuck, I go to Becky, and she actually came to me yesterday. She lives in New Zealand. She's an amazing light worker and an amazing healer, and she does a lot of work over Skype. So she's on Facebook under the name of Heavenly Connections. If anybody is interested, she is amazing. And last night, the healing that I experienced was like, wow. I've woke up this morning like a different girl. Amazing. That's all I can say. Fantastic. A lot of stuff was shifted. A lot of protection was given. And like I say, you can feel it. You can actually feel it during the healing. You can physically feel it, and physically feel the energy forms that are being released, So thank you so much for that, Becky. Like I say, I will see you in New Zealand soon, I hope, and like I say, I may even be your flatmate one day. That's what we were talking about last night. And also, I just want to say a huge thank you as well to Charlotte. A very, very beautiful gift I got of Charlotte, who is a client, and she's absolutely wonderful, and I love her to bits. And there was a real sense of kindness yesterday with Charlotte. So, like I say, there's this weekend. I'm sorry, I'm not bragging or anything about how brilliant my weekend's been. What I want to say is, that the kindness in the world actually came out. And like I say, there was a big shift in healing. So if anybody has felt that themselves, please let me know, because like I say, January has been a very, very funny month, but we're starting to come out of it now. And, it's like, right, okay, my shoulders are free again. So then we get back to the cards of today. First card I've pulled, the tarot card, Seven of Swords. Now this is, it made me laugh when I pulled these cards, and I probably shouldn't laugh, because obviously if you're going through this, then it is not a laughing matter. But the Seven of Swords, when this comes out, I've said this time again, and we've had this quite a lot over the last few weeks. This is trickery, dishonesty, and deceit. Somebody is trying to take something from you. Okay? Now, I don't mean this is they're trying to take physical things. I don't mean that this is somebody's going to try and break in and burgle your house or something like that. It's not. But what I'm getting here is somebody is around you. It's somebody who could be in your circle who is not to be trusted. Okay, now, trust is a huge thing. And if there is people around you that are not to be trusted, then you really need to be aware of this as well. I feel that there's two people. This is it. It keeps coming up. Two people involved. And when I'm looking at this card, what I actually seen for the first time ever in these cards, if we have a look there, there's like dark shadows, and it's like they're huddled in together, so it's like, I don't know, it's gossip, there's gossip, there's conniving, there's planning, there's plotting, so it's like I say, there's, getting their heads together, and sort of maybe even could be, how do we sabotage, because like I say, it's not a nice feeling here. Another thing I got when I looked at these tents, it's sort of like I say, a bit like a circus, really, and the first thing that came into me is, not my circus, not my monkeys. So if there is people around you like this at the moment, if you are having to deal with this, this plotting and this scheming, just like I say, let it go, let them get on with it, let them crack on, because at the end of the day, if you are that important that they're wanting to spend their time and energy, on talking, or plotting your downfall or something, then just say, oh, thank you, that's it. There is an importance around you that is causing them to do this. Now, whenever we have jealousy is actually a real lack of self-confidence. The people who are jealous, are lacking confidence in themselves. And there's something that they see in you that threatens them. They're threatened by it, because jealousy is an egoic thought process and an egoic like process, and this comes from fear. So there is something about you that threatens these people, right? Okay, they may know that you have something that they will never have, and they may laugh, they may mock, they may be snide, they may be whatever, but that is only because there is a threat there within you. So this card is telling you, be careful where you put your trust, because if somebody is trying to appear better than you or trying to make you feel small, the thing is, there is an issue within them, and they deserve pity more than headspace. Don't give them headspace. Don't give them that at all, because that will end up, you will end up driving yourself mad with it. And the thing is, they're not worth it. When you can stand in your power, and when you can stand tall, and when you are authentic, and when you are the person who you were born to be, what anybody says about you is none of your business, so you can stand in your power and let them have the crazy little circus, the crazy he said, she said, do look what she's done, look what he's done, blah, 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 and all of that. Because at the end of the day, when somebody judges somebody, they define themselves rather than defining you. So like I say, be like Teflon. It's water off a duck's back, and if they're talking about you, then at least they're not talking about somebody else. You're strong enough. You can take it, So with this, like I say, with this card, it's somebody's pussyfooting around the issue. This is what I'm getting here. Somebody's like, there's a real, it's just the sneakiness. And to be honest, it's actually quite comical, this. And I do feel it will eventually show itself as well. And it's sort of like, when you get the kid with the fingers caught in the cookie jar, and then they're like, and having to explain themselves, and it's like, right, okay, explain yourself out of this one. A lot of times this can indicate spying as well. And like I say, I've said before, with social media and things like that, everybody is like sort of, sorry, people are wanting to see, and people will spend hours and hours and hours trawling through photos and trawling through this. And what are they doing? They're actually making themselves feel bad. It's not affecting you, because if you are protected and you don't care about this, then, it's actually quite comical, because it's that childlike that, You know, it's you know, have people not got anything better to do than to see what is going on in other people's lives? You know, so like I say, with this one, and it could be somebody is trying to steal your light as well. You know, they may be trying to do that, because when you are shining brightly, it affects other people. And if somebody says, oh yeah, you know, I know such and such, aren't they an amazing person, this person won't like it, and they, you know, and they desperately, because of this insecurity within themselves, you know, they don't want this, and they might want to try and blacken your name, which would turn your light off, you know. But like I say, if they're, whatever they are saying to real people will not take that on board. If somebody comes to me and wants to gossip about somebody, it's like, you know, please, I don't want to know that, you know, or why do you feel that I need to know that? You know, if somebody comes up to gossip about you, just say to them, why do you feel I need to know that about that other person? What business is it of mine? And that will cut them dead straight away, you know, because people don't like to be called out. People like to be like these, you know, in the background, all huddled together and, you know, and having this little bit gossip. But like I say, it just shows what sad little lives that they have, you know. If anything, when you talk about other people, talk about their achievements, talk about how well they've done, talk about, you know what, such and such is having a really great time at the minute, and you know what, they deserve that. So like I say, that's it. Speak with, everything you speak is sort of like a spell, you know. That's why we call it spelling. So be very conscious of words that you speak, and where do they come from? Do they come from a loving place, you know, or do they come from a place of ego, which is usually indicating some lack within yourself, you know, and wanting to feel important by having this. If we've all seen the girls at school who used to cackle, and, you know, the bitchy girls. And that's what this is. That doesn't stop when you leave school. It actually gets worse. And when adults do it, you know, that's when they should really be questioning themselves, you know, because adults acting like children, they should know better. So like I say, with this card, be very careful who you trust. You know, look at your circle. You know, can you trust them all? You know, can you trust everybody within your circle? You know, and like I say, if you can, keep them close, but keep your enemies closer on this, because there's just general sneakiness. And like I say, this big smiling at you sweetly while stabbing you in the back, you know. And it's like I say, I find it quite comical spirit of like laughing there this morning at this. So that is the card. Just be careful. Be careful who you trust today. You know, like I say, if you want to know if you can trust somebody, trust them, because they will eventually show you. Once they have showed you, then that's it. You know, they've showed you. If they can, great, keep them around. If they can't, then, you know, you don't want to know, because like I say, this world, I mean, sorry, they're just bringing it in there. Sorry, I'm going right off on one today. That's because it's Tanya's back, you know. Sorry, they're just bringing in about this card here today as well. They're bringing in the Donald Trump thing. As if anybody has been watching any of the videos about him over the weekend, they are quite funny. This guy has this overflated, like, sense of self and importance. But when you actually look at it, it is coming from a massive, deep-rooted fear. You know, this guy, get him on a psychiatrist's couch. I'd love to give him a reading, you know, and break him open and see that this is this scared little boy who does not feel he is worthy, but is now in a position of massive power. And, you know, it's all about bigging himself up and how good he is, you know, and how amazing he is. But that is because he doesn't believe it. And I feel that these people who may be saying these things about you, you know, that is the same with them. They think, in some crazy part of their brain, they think that they're better than you, but nobody is better than anybody else, you know. So they're trying to project this sort of negative energy towards you to try and keep you small, you know. And Never play small. Never play small. You know, you own a massive part in this world, you know, and you need to get out there and you need to strut your stuff and you need to stand with your head held high, you know. So, like I say, this is, you know, whenever we have this overflated ego, even narcissists deep down, you know, have this fear of not being good enough. So they have to suck the power from other people to try and make themselves feel good and make the other people feel small, you know? And that is not because they do think they're that amazing. That is because they actually doubt it. Okay, so like I say, don't let this worry you at all. You just be you, because you are perfectly you, you know, whether you are different, whether you are weird, that just makes you stand out. You know, you weren't born to fit in. So sorry, that came in there. Right, okay. So this card, I really hate this card. I really, really do. And it's called Compromise, right? And if we have a look at it, you know, the colours aren't very nice in it yet. Now, most of them within the Osho deck are very vibrant, you know, and very, very colourful. And these ones aren't, you know, they're murky, they're grey, they're just not very nice. And when we look at the figures in this card, they have came to a compromise, okay? But neither of them look happy in this, and neither of them are actually getting what they want. Compromise means to give in, you know, and when we compromise, we are forced in some way not to live our truth. Now, when this happens, what happens is resentment actually sets in. And if we look at the colour of the people in here, they're green. Now, this card that I've just been talking about here, we'll have all heard the term green with envy. Envy is jealousy, you know. So this is, like I say, it's just backing this card up. You know, if we have a look at them, they're not even holding hands there. I don't know if you can see it. They're touching fingers, you know. And, you know, they're guarded and they're suspicious of each other as well. And if we have a look, we can see they both have weapons in their hidden in their clothing that they can need, that they could use when they need to, you know. So it's very like this card, and this could be somebody even as close as in a relationship to you. So it's like, you know, you've got this relationship all smiling sweetly and ready to actually stab the other person when is needed, you know. Now, it's, you know, when we meet halfway with somebody, that's cool, you know, because we come to an agreement there. And, you know, with all types of relationships or whatever, there is a little bit of give and take here. But when we cave in and when we betray our own truth, you know, this is not cool for us, you know. And the thing is, we should all have boundaries, you know. We can all drop them as well, you know. I'm guilty of that myself, but I realize how actually physically ill it makes me, you know. But people will only have respect for our boundaries when we actually start to respect them themselves. And what this card says is that when you compromise, you are compromising yourself, and this will always leave a bitter taste in your mouth. It will not leave a sweet taste of success. It will leave a bitter taste, you know. And like I say, this is regret. This is resentment, and I'm getting there, like I'm getting in my mouth here. When you have a bitter taste in your mouth, you want to get that out, and this is when I feel there will be spiteful words said, you know, because if that is what's in there when this comes out, their words are not going to be pleasant, you know. So this is about not settling, not feeling that you need to gain approval neither, you know. Being authentic and being yourself, and you know, that in turn gives other people permission to do the same. And if they can't do that, you know, then this is when, you know, there's ties need to be cut, you know. So you need to honor yourself. You need to honor yourself in who you are as a person. You know, it might not fit into other people's standards of what they say is right or cool, but it's you. And you couldn't fit into anything else because that is you, you know. So it's standing up for who you are. Within Kundalini Yoga, and you will all know if you watch these videos, that at the end of each reading I say Sat Nam. And Sat Nam, what it means is Sat is truth and Nam is name. So, you know, by putting these words, if you're greeting somebody, but when I say this at the end of a reading, what it means is truth is my name. you know. And a lot of times it's very hard to live in our truth, but it's a lot harder not to. So this is saying, you know, when you speak your truth, you know, or when you speak your truth, you are living a life authentically. When you are not speaking your truth, you are living a lie, you know, and you may try and hide this from yourself, but deep down you know it. And this is what has happened between these two figures. They have compromised, so neither of them are actually living in their truth, you know, and what they are doing is blaming the other person for this. So like I say, this is resentment, and this is deep rooted. And to have this amongst people who you are sharing time with, sharing your energy with and everything, is very, very unhealthy, you know. Life is a gift. This is what Spirit are saying here, you know, and it can be hard at times, but it's always very beautiful. And when you live in your truth and when you honor yourself, you know, your life changes beyond measure, and you can stand tall in any situation here. So this card is saying, you know, be true to you, follow your heart, you know, do not let others stand in your way. And, you know, to compromise is to settle for safe. And in life, safe will keep you restricted and it will never push you forward. To compromise is a failure to let your needs and desires be met or acknowledged, you know, and we all deserve to be actually seen as the person we are. We all deserve to be listened to, and we all deserve to be respected for that as well. Once this happens, this is when we will live a fulfilling life. Now, what Osho says about this card is, sooner or later, you will be able to understand that compromise is not going to help. And compromise may be a way of not going in either direction. So it keeps you stuck, you know. It may just be a repression of your confusion, but it will assert itself. Never repress anything. Be clear-cut about the situation. And if you're confused, remember that you are confused. This will be the first clear-cut thing about you. If you're confused, you have started the journey. So this is what Osho is saying. Do not compromise yourself, because if you do, it will lead to rot, you know, and it may be a temporary solution, but in the long run, it will actually cause you more problems than what you're having at the minute. So don't settle, don't compromise yourself, and stand in your truth, you know, because like I say, when this comes in like this, you know, this is about, you know, not knowing. It's sort of like I'm getting in my head there. They've just said there to me, sleeping with the enemy, you know. And the thing is with sleeping, when you sleep next to somebody, right? Okay, sorry about that. This is where they're going with this. When you sleep next to somebody, you are vulnerable. You are at your most vulnerable. You know, your eyes are shut. Your defenses are turned off. So to actually share a bed or a room or a house or something like that with somebody is you have full trust within them. And to think that if you are going to sleep on a nighttime with somebody that you don't trust, you're not going to sleep. You're going to like be sleeping with one eye open, aren't you? You know. So, like I say, be very careful, because this is close knit. It is. This isn't, you know, this isn't people from afar. This is actually close knit, where this trust is not there, and this sneakiness and deception. You know. So, like I say, just. I don't know why I'm laughing, but these cards are actually making me laugh more than actually making me be concerned about them, you know, because it's sort of like a laughable situation there. So sorry, I don't know why that's coming through. So then we go on to the Colette Baron Reid cards, and the card that we have here is Higher Power. Now, it's such a beautiful, beautiful card, this. I absolutely love it. I don't know if you can see the imagery in that, you know. But this is like when we have contact, connecting again with Spirit, right? Connecting. Spirit know who you are. You don't have to put on an act with them, you know. And Spirit love you for that. So this is about saying, getting your connection with a higher power again, knowing that there is something more powerful than you that is controlling circumstances, you know, letting the presence of the divine actually flow through you. This is what happened yesterday with the healing. It was like, right, okay, I'm home. You know, that was how I felt. And what this is saying is to commit to a partnership with Spirit, Okay, so like I say, this partnership here is not based on trust. It's based on suspicion. When you have a partnership with spirit, there is nothing but trust and love. I was talking to my friend Becky about this yesterday. We were talking about love and how on a 3D plane, we have this version of love. Yet when you connect to spirit, and I've mentioned this in my readings before, it is a different type of love. So with this card, what this card is saying is if you just surrender and you just say, how can I serve? Let spirit move through you. Let spirit actually work through you as well, and get out of your own way, because there is a plan for your life, right? Which spirit have, and it is better than what you could ever even imagine. They will always have you protected. You will always be divinely protected. And they have your back, and they want the best for you, and they love you unconditionally as well. So when this card is coming in, what it's saying is just surrender. You don't have to put yourselves in situations like this that make you uneasy, where you feel judged, where you feel a victim, where you feel jealous of, or stuff like that. You don't have to do that, because spirit are there and spirit have a bigger plan. But what we need to do to connect to spirit is we need to release control. And this is what we find hard. This is how a lot of people can't speak and talk to spirit and connect with spirit in this way. My aunt lives in America, and she's done a lot of study on tarot and crystals and stuff like that. And she's very knowledgeable, but she will not let go of control to allow spirit to come through with her. Even when she's meditating, I've worked with her a few times, and it's like, just let go, and she won't. She has this need for control. And this is what I feel comes in with these egoic cards here, So this is about getting out of your own way, allowing spirit to flow through you, allowing them to guide you as well. Because once you do, when you open up to spirit, this is when the ideas just come rushing in. This is when you get inspiration, and it just starts bubbling, and it's just like you get... Right, okay, I'm going to do this, and it might sound mad or it might sound crazy to somebody, but you are being guided, and you know how good it feels, because you feel that good, When we come down to earth, before we come down to earth, we enter into agreements, we sign soul contracts. And anybody we come into contact with within this earth, usually the people where we end up hurt or whatever, there is a contract and an agreement that has already been drawn up between that person. And, we need to honor that, and we need to learn the lesson that we said before we came down here that we wanted to learn as well, So like I say, this is again another higher power, and once you recognize that, you say, right, okay, have I learned that lesson? And this is when that agreement can actually be then destroyed or put back in the filing cabinet, because it's like, right, okay, it's done. But again, this is our higher power. If we don't recognize this because of our egoic mind, we will carry on making the same mistakes over and over again and expecting different results. And that is actually a sign of insanity. Not being filled with inspiration, not having this amazing feeling, it's actually doing the same thing over and over again and expecting it to work out differently, So when we have spirit as our partner, when we have them as our like homeboy, and they're with us, this is when you will succeed at whatever, because they are the ones guiding you. This is when synchronicities come in. This is when your intuitive mind starts to kick in as well, and it will nudge you into the way that to the place that you want to be. This is when you will have confidence in yourself and then have confidence in what you're doing as well, So like I say, we need to be humble with spirit. All of this talk in the beginning about these people wanting to think that they're better than you and wanting to stand up and look at me, how great I am. When you are spiritual, it's humility is key. You know that you are amazing. You know that you're fabulous. You know you are a child of the universe, and you have been put here, and you are perfect no matter what it is you do. But you need to believe in that, but also keep humble as well. So this is what this card is saying. And it's saying, hand stuff over to spirit. If you are struggling with something, hand it over to them. Let it go and let God. I don't believe in God as such, so when I say let go and let God, it is my God, and like I say, God is whoever I deem him to be, or deem it to be, So this card is saying, when you do this, when you surrender and when you let go and let God, what you do is you take away any need for control or manipulation, So this frees you. And anything that we are trying to control or manipulate is coming from a place of fear. So when we let go, this frees us as well. And what we then do is we feel blissful. Okay, we feel blissful. That is the word for it, and it's like we are in the now. We are aware of where we are. We are paying full attention to where we are. We are not living in the past, because that does not exist now. We are not living in the future, because that hasn't happened, so it is not real. It is now, and this is it. And when we surrender and when we can connect with this higher power, if we have a look, there's a face there within her solar plexus. There's this face here looking wistfully. There's this light shining from her, but also a key. This is like a doorway. When we open the doorway to our mind, this is when all of the information and everything that we need can come flooding in. Now, this card, the way I don't know, I'm in a really funny mood today. I'm just, there's a real like bubbly excitement coming. There's a card when I'm reading this. There's a film that it's actually remind me of, and it's a film called Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon, I think it's called. And it's actually a film about Francis of Assisi, St. Francis of Assisi. And it's an old 70s film. And the way it's put together is really, really comical. I don't think it's meant to be as comical, but I find it like hilarious when I watch it. And it's basically St. Francis of Assisi was brought up rich and all of this. And he knew there was something different. And so he goes out to live in the wilderness, and he takes off all his clothes and he just goes running through the woods and stuff like that. And it's actually really, really funny. But everybody deemed that he was mad, They deemed that he'd gone crazy and he'd lost these marbles, But he hadn't. What he'd done was he'd connected to spirit, and he knew that all of this stuff he'd had before didn't mean anything. And he's actually the patron saint of animals, because he connected with the animals, He connected, he showed kindness to whoever he came in contact with, and he's an absolutely beautiful saint if you look up. Very, very humble, but very powerful in his humility. And this is what's coming in when I'm getting this card. Sorry, I've just got a picture of him like running naked over these hills. And it's really funny. And like I say, when you do laugh like this, when you do laugh at nothing, when you do take the joy out of people, out of life, people will look at you and you'll go, yeah, they've lost it, They haven't. You found it. That is it. You have found it. When you can take life lightheartedly, and when you see the humor in life, because spirit are very, very humorous, you have not lost it. You have actually found it. And this is when you arrive at a place of bliss. Okay, so I hope that made sense. A very strange reading today, but I really, really like it. It's it's very, very good. So like I say, be careful who you trust, and trust in spirit. I think that's pretty much the key for today. Okay, so if anybody would like a reading with me, please get in touch. I do have availability. All of my stuff is sorted now, so it's like crack on with work. So I am quite busy already, but I do have availability. So please get in touch with me, either via my Facebook or via my website. The links are below. And yeah, there's a change this week. There's a massive, massive change. And if anybody is feeling it, please let me know as well, because like I say, we all are sort of all connected in some way. So what one's experiencing, another, it usually has a knock-on effect. But yeah, there's a lot of healing gone on over the past 72 hours, I feel. And this, I feel, is allowing you to, I don't know, to stand back in your power and to feel happier than what you have in a long time. Okay, so like I say, keep this healing. I really feel there's been a big heart chakra healing as well. You know, if any of you have rose quartz, try and keep that on you as well, because that will continue the healing. But yeah, it's like there's a good feeling. So even though those cards were initially telling you to be cautious at the beginning, I really feel that as we go through this week, I feel that the cards will become a lot lighter. There's a light-hearted feeling in the air, and it feels good. Okay, so have an absolutely fabulous day, and I'll be back tomorrow with the cards of today. Satnam.